hopefully. Xbox is slightly harder because it's DirectX, and this is currently OpenGL, but again, I've tried to build a layer between OpenGL and the game, so hopefully I should be able to do the DirectX version. Scares the hell out of me, but yeah.
How does it feel that after all these years, something that you made is still held in such high regard?
Oh, it's brilliant. I can't believe it, you know. People write to me from across the world, and some of them still play. And, you know, some even play Match Day, which I think, you know, Head Over Heels still looks quite good, but Match Day, you know, past its prime to say the very least. And they still play it, you know, groups of them all play it together. Somebody from Spain wrote to me a couple of weeks ago, you know, like 4 of them get together on a Saturday night and all play Match Day. Where do you find 4 people in one city that still play? No, wonderful, you know, it's a great compliment. People search for me for games that I wrote 20 years ago and take the time to write a very complimentary email. You know, lovely. It's, you know, it's going to boost anybody's ego, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Do you think your current game will still be played in 20 years?
Probably not, no. You know, I mean, it was a time when there weren't that many games around, and there wasn't the degree of professionalism that there is now. You know, I mean, some of the games are so polished, and individuals can't hope to match that. You know, not when you have a team of thousands that are working on it. Sometimes those teams are crap as well, but you know, some of them are good. It's,
another question from you?
I'm intrigued about the early days when you said that you just like made a game and put it in an envelope and said it was published. I mean, first of all, was that the sort of way it was done then?
I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know. I got a crap deal for it, I have to say. I mean, I won't tell you exactly what it was, but it was unbelievably shy, and I didn't realise that until after that first game. But it, you know, I'd made a game. I was working, as I say. I'd done it as a sort of hobby, so I didn't really attach any worth to it particularly, and I didn't really know how to deal with it when I finished it. So, you know, looked in the magazine, found a few names. Bug Bite was one of them. Arctic was another, and I can't remember who else. Sent it on to about 3, I think, and Arctic phoned up the following morning. So if it got there, they must have put it in and phoned me straight away. Yeah, except the deal was crap.
Did you ever get calls when 2 of them had called?
Well, not. I mean, and then the thing was that I did that the once, and then after that, I mean, when I did the second game for Arctic, I just I told them straight away I was going for a percentage rather than a flat fee, and I stuck with them for a while, and then later on, well, when I was doing Match Day, I saw David Ward at a show, and not World Cup Carnival, but what was its predecessor called again?
Arctic Soccer.
Arctic Soccer was on at a stand there, and I'd left Arctic, but I hadn't done anything since. And David Ward was talking to me, and I just said to him, "Mine's going to be shit. That's better than that." I'd been working on it for about a week at the time, so I had no grounds for saying that. But he then phoned me up 9-10 months later, and it literally was just coming to an end. It was just before Christmas. And he just said, "Did that game come to an end?" "Yeah, almost finished. I'll give you this much money for it." It was literally more money than I'd ever heard of in my hands at that point. And he said, "That's just an advance on royalties." And it's like, sold to the man in Manchester. And then, you know, Ocean, great. At any equipment I wanted, anything I wanted, really, it was in the post and at my door the next day. And they really just let me do whatever I wanted. There was no pressure on me to do any particular game. They just took whatever I did. So what did I do? 4 games with them, I think. Yeah, 4. And then started talking to Rare, partly because Rare did that interview in Crash. Was it in Crash? I think it was. And you know, Rare never talked to anybody up till then. So I wrote them a letter. Said my artist's better than your artist. I did really, and they invited me up to visit them, and it turned out that they'd been playing my games just as I'd been playing theirs, and Chris actually said, Tim said to me later, of all the people that they saw in that period, because they were really trying to put Rare together, I was the only one who was arrogant enough to walk in and assume that if I wanted the job, it was mine. Because I'd been so successful at that point, and lots of companies approached me, it really didn't cross my mind that I'd be turned down, and I guess I behaved like that. Lovely position to be in. I don't think they could quite believe it, but they wanted me, so that was great. And we had a good time together. I didn't just do games with them. I also did a development system for them called GLAM, Global Language Assembler Monitor, which was used to create many of the Rare games at that time. So did that as well.
Any more questions? Anyone else? Okay then, well I'd just like to say thank you to Jon and...
We've got more.
I was just going to say, when you say you built that sort of system that worked in the background, did you find as much kind of pleasure in doing that and then seeing the fruits of that later down the line, or was it much more immediate to actually just work on a game?
I wanted a good development system, and I didn't see one out there. And it was a great development system. It was really fast, and I could change a bit of the game, hit a button, and it'd be running on the machine 2 seconds later. Much faster than things I've got today. And just the speed of it was great. And that's why I wanted something really good to work on, and I made it really flexible, and it had its own internal language, so you could add things to it. You could add monitor commands easily, just add kind of fourth type language. So I wanted it for myself to develop it. And they liked the idea, and they wanted something good, because I think there was something called PDS at the time, which was the only thing out, Programmers Development System, I suppose, which was buggy. And I do remember once I fired PDS up before I wrote GLAM, and my computer just said, "You've been stoned." No, wrong way round. No, it just said, don't have enough memory to run. I was thinking, what are you talking about? I've got the standard 640k RAM that a PC had when it first started, and phoned up Rare and said, it's saying this, it's saying one, and they said, you've got stoned. I was like, how's that done? But apparently it was a virus that called Stones, and it would eat a bit of the memory and it would stop PDS running.
Okay, we finished this time.
I've no idea.
It was
I mean,
a disc or someone. No,
it must have come off a disc. I've no idea how it got. Well, probably came from Rare. I would guess that that's where it came from.
They were getting you back from here, so
I'm guessing that's where it came from.
Jon, you're working on something for the iPhone at the moment.
Yeah, we did all that.
Have you already talked
We've
about
done all
that?
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, you did.
Did you tell us what it was? Because I think last time you weren't saying what it was.
I think it's called Deviation, but it may not be. I did change the name recently, and I can't remember what to.
I'll catch it on the video then.
Who's your favourite wrestler?
I don't have one.
Just say Shirley Crabtree and we'll move on.
You mentioned how you preferred the Spectrum over the Commodore 64 when you were making your games. but your Amstrad games look much better than the Spectrum ones. So by that reasoning, would you say that the Amstrad CPC was the best thing that could
The Amstrad was, yeah.
Yeah!
I mean, it had the colour, you know. Who can deny that didn't make the game? It was faintly